Hello, everybody. So there were some details that I I left out a little bit of from 3.52. So let's use this opportunity to talk about that. So in 3.53, it says state. Just remember again that electrophoresis, gel electrophoresis, can be used in something called DNA profiling. So that's DNA fingerprinting. It's like whose DNA does this belong to? And I mentioned this briefly. So most of the time, it's used in some sort of criminal investigation. It can be used. Oh, my lights! I'm back. Oh, I thought I was a victim of a criminal investigation. It can also be used in a paternity suit, so that's like who's the dad. Sometimes we don't know. I'm also in like a disaster where there's been, like a plane crash, and we're trying to identify the victims to their DNA. So um, this is actually a better image than the one that I drew. So this is a sexual assault case. So if we look at this, there's a couple pieces I want to talk about. So one thing here, there's something called the ladder, and the ladder is like a reference. So it gives you an idea how big the bases are, like how long, I shouldn't say how big the bases are, how big the pieces of DNA are. So you might have bigger ones down here, right? Because positive down here, negative here, DNA is going to move towards the positive direction. So we're going to have smaller pieces of DNA down here and bigger pieces towards the beginning. That's supposed to say big. So I don't know, maybe in the beginning there's like 10,000 base pairs long, and down here at this ladder or this reference or ruler, maybe the segments are smaller, maybe they're 500 base pairs long, something like that. So when you see this term ladder, it's just basically a reference for length. So let's look at this investigation. So we have the victim, right? So we have a victim here. We've collected some cells at the crime scene. So we have cells or DNA there and DNA there. Shorter piece of DNA, longer piece of DNA. Also, we have female cells. Also, get them here and here. So the victim and the female are the same person, right? Gonna get Jessica Alexander out of my window. I don't know who she is. Then we have some sperm that was left at the crime scene. So we collect the DNA from here, and we see that when we collected the DNA and did like the PCR and ran it through the gel electrophoresis, it had a longer piece there and a shorter piece here that stopped in the PCR. And we can identify it from suspect number one. So right away, we can look at this gel electrophoresis and see that this woman was a victim of sexual assault by this suspect number one. They also included like the boyfriend's DNA here to make sure like he wasn't involved in the sexual assault. And I guess there was a second suspect who looks innocent because his DNA doesn't match at all. So that is how we can use gel electrophoresis to just like draw comparisons based on where the DNA pieces stop based on their size in this gel electrophoresis machine.